What a wild weekend it was, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, this things every day, every day in the last since last week has really reminded me of that scene from the Red October with the aircraft carrier. This situation is getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand, and we're all going to be lucky to survive it, for better or worse. Welcome to episode 129 of RickCast. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Hopefully it was calm. Hopefully you had a wonderful Father's Day to all the dads out there, and hopefully all the moms were nice to their fathers, to the father figures, and so forth. I hope it was wonderful for all of you. And now we are back at it, and things have not slowed down. In fact, things seem to continue to be going at ludicrous speed in honor of Spaceballs. It seems like everything is going at ludicrous speed at this point. And anybody is just kind of like, can we just calm down with all of this? So what we're going to be talking about tonight here on RickCast, we are going to be talking about what the events over the weekend and what led to the biggest thing taking place was Tucker Carlson standing up and essentially being the voice of a considerable amount of MAGA, or anybody that is associated with Trump or voted for Trump at any point. The person that stood up to be their representative, saying, "You got to stop this, man. You got to stop all of this. You got to slow this thing down, Trump, because this is going to destroy you." Because we know Trump. Trump doesn't think anything's going to destroy MAGA or anything as long as he's there. And I think he's a little bit, and this is the thing, you don't get to his position being a billionaire or being president by underestimating yourself. And I think really the thing is I think he is overestimating his importance in the long run. Obviously, he's an important figure in the political landscape, being the president and the leader of MAGA, but there is an end date to everything. And this is short-sighted, to say the least. So you're having people like Tucker, and I think Tucker's doing it out of charity. I 100% think Tucker's doing this as a charitable act to say, listen, man, everything you want will be destroyed if you decide to go along with this. If you decide to let the Israelis, and this is my way of looking at it, I believe the Israelis are at fault because they are trying to drag the U.S. in. From what it seemed like Trump was not in favor of going in, or at least holding off on it, and the Israelis just did it. The Israelis just kind of did it. And I really do like how Owen Shriver, who, by the way, if you're coming into the chat right now, just there's a little bit of housekeeping for Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be a little different because we're going to go a little bit earlier, because through my amazing contact, Magdalene, my amazing social media manager, she's able to get me a time to sit down with Owen, and we're going to talk for a little bit, and we're going to do an interview about all of these kinds of topics, because I think it's still going to be very, very still topical when it comes about on Wednesday. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to air the interview on Friday. So there's not going to be a live show on Friday, though, or maybe there will be a very quick live show on Friday. But the idea is that we're going to sit down with Owen. We're going to have a nice conversation with him, and then that'll be Friday's show. Probably be the back end of Friday's show. I'll go live for a little bit for just to kind of get some ideas, and then on the back half of the show, I will play the interview for y'all. So it'll be good regardless. And I'm very, very honored that Owen Schroyer, did I say Schreier? That's probably not a great start. Owen Schroyer is going to take some time to sit down and talk with me here on RickCast. And I'm very, very happy about that. And all credit goes out to Magdalene for the setting up of the interview. So tireless work that one does. When she told me that last week, she said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be able to. Do you want to sit down with him?" And I said, "Yeah, yes." And she's like, "All right, well, here we go." I said, "Okay, well, we're gonna do it." So Wednesday, The Wednesday, the show is going to be earlier just so I can space out enough time to do the interview with him about 5:30 on Wednesday, so we can sit down and then do the interview with Owen Schroyer of InfoWars, who I will be interviewing on Wednesday. And if I don't drop the interview, I might drop the interview Thursday, or I may drop it on Friday. I don't know. Depends on how I feel. So we'll see how it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what we got lined up for us today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Tucker and everything that's going on there. And then we are going to be talking about I think it's a psyop. I'm already calling it psyop. And yeah, I mean, Lou, that's it. This has been bad Trump weekend. It's been bad Trump all weekend. So I think he really is overestimating how he can calm the masses. And I think he took some really bad steps too. And we'll talk about them in a couple seconds with the definition of America first and who does America first really belong to. I don't like the way Trump is positioning himself in that regards. And so it's really not great to see how this is being laid out for those who have supported Trump for 3 years and those who have backed Trump for 3 years. Or not 3 years, 3 terms. I voted for him 2016, 2020, 2024. What about the J6ers who went to jail? What about all these people who have lost jobs and connections and all these other things? It's just not great. And that's on top of the fact that Trump kind of had to walk back the cover for illegals, right? Who the cover, the fact that he wanted to give the farmers and the hotel workers some kind of cover for that. So it's all very messy right now. And so we'll get into it all today here on RickCast. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. I think I have enough tabs open. I think I have enough tabs open that I can give you all the info that I can. So, of course, while we let the bar rats kind of assemble and kind of come into today's show, we always have a couple warm-up shows. But before we get to anything else, let us thank a non-official sponsor of the show. That is tradflags.com. Tradflags.com. I use their image in my countdown. And somebody asked me a really good question. And I love all the questions of people who, send me stuff and leave comments. Your participation, it's your channel, right? I'm just the guy that kind of manages it. But he said, why do you use the image and why do you do 10 minutes worth of music? Well, it's to let people who are subscribed and notified to the channel, it gives them time to get the notification and get in before the show starts so they can catch it from the beginning. So it is what it is in that regard. That's why I do that. But check out tradflags.com. I use their image in the countdown right now. They have bundles, garden flags, specialty flags, monthly flags, magnets, posters, and more. Check them out, tradflag.com, tradflag.com. Not a sponsor, but since I use their stuff, please consider, checking them out. Tradflags.com. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's buyer's remorse. None of us wanted Kamala. I mean, that's buyer's remorse as if there was a better option, Steph. And there wasn't a better option, right? There was a no kings protest against Trump, even though the people who were in the no kings protest supported somebody who was installed into the presidency nomination spot. So, there's really, I don't think there's any kind of idea that there's regret or remorse. There's worry, but I think there's two totally different things. Yeah, because we voted for him because we thought he would do the least amount of damage. Completely understandable. Catholic Jedi Lou Matt Wall says these are the 2 points that will ruin his legacy. I think it's actually more than ruin his legacy. I think it actually destroys MAGA. And that's the thing that will really be it. I'm not gonna lie, Cesar. That parade was very unimpressive. Very unimpressive. So yeah, it is. It's not great right now. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So she's saying he is not as Christian as she thought. Yeah. You're to be fair, I don't know. He never, I mean, he tried and we made fun of him for it. I don't know if he's ever claimed to be Christian. He has invoked our Lord on occasion. Yeah, well, here's the thing, it's hard to see what's in a guy's heart. And I know that is a weak response. I get it, but it's kind of true. It's kind of true. So it is. Well, I mean, everybody has a legacy. Just says I think a legacy is nothing more than just a retelling of your time here. Some people have more of a story to tell than others. So, it is that I mean, legacy is different for different people. To be fair, there's been protests in Seattle for 10 plus years. That's kind of like saying I would win the basketball tournament in the midget league at being 5'6". I'd be dominant in the midget league. There are some things that are obviously established. So I think that's 75,000. I guess is an impressive number, but then you say Seattle, and that's pretty much everybody. So I don't know if I'm really knocking my socks off on that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, but thank you for the information, Steph. Always greatly appreciate it. We appreciate you hanging out with us here today. So let's get to our 2 warm-up stories. First one here. First warm-up story. Psycho union head Randy Weingard is resigning from the DNC. On June 5th in Washington, the leader of the major U.S. teachers union stepped down from her role within the Democratic National Committee, which is kind of crazy because the head of teachers union should not be allowed by law to be associated with the Democratic or the Republican national committees. They should be an independent organization. Her resignation followed a disagreement with the new DNC chair, Ken Martin, after she supported his rival, Ben Wicker. Weingard was removed from her powerful Rules and Bylaws Committee. Her resignation letter, she blah, blah, blah. I don't care. This lady's nuts. She was one of the reasons why schools were still shut down, even when you had city officials say, hey, it's time to get the kids back to school. And the teachers unions were the biggest ones pushing back against having schools reopen. And it was because of people like Randy Weingard who were making $500,000 easily a year off of union dues. So goodbye. Bye-bye. No way to see that. I agree. As somebody who's been in the teaching sphere for 10 plus years, teachers shouldn't have unions. I mean, I know Mark's here. If Mark was here, he'd be giving us a different idea on unions because he's a part of one, and that's fine. But I think unions, in their current place in time, there used to be a place for unions, but I don't think there's currently a place for unions right now. Hello, Alex from Florida. How are you, bud? Thank you for hanging out with us. That's cool that you're here today on RickCast. You are officially now a bar rat, and we invite you to hang out and give us your opinions on what you think about these stories as we go on throughout the day. Let us get to our second story of the day. Michigan woman makes peanut butter and jelly sandwich during virtual court session, and the judge is not happy. Now, the judge should give her a break because peanut butter and jelly is the superior sandwich. I should know because back when I was, in school to become a teacher 15, 16 years ago, dagger in the heart, that I had PB&J because I was broke, dude. I worked as a collection agent for Citizens Bank. I called people and asked for money, which was funny because I didn't have any. And I could afford basic groceries, peanut butter and jelly and bread and like a granola bar or something. And so I have a soft spot in my heart for peanut butter and jelly. So I think this judge should have mercy on them. Now, I'm sorry, Catholic Jedi, you're allergic to peanuts. That's terrible. I feel that's awful. I'm sorry, man or woman. I can't really tell. I can't tell. I don't want to misgender you. I'm sorry that you're allergic to peanuts. That's not cool. Anyway, Asia Outerbridge appeared late via video for a morning court session in Detroit, of all places, facing a misdemeanor related to an open alcohol container incident. Outerbridge arrived late because she logged on to the hearing at 9:22 a.m. after spending 2 hours on hold and mistakenly confused her court schedule, during which she was preparing a sandwich for her unwell daughter. I mean, come on, she's making peanut butter jelly for a kid. During the session, Judge Sean Perkins addressed Outerbridge about her lateness and criticized her for wearing a robe and preparing food, instructing her to stop what she was doing, and reminded her that the proceedings required a serious and respectful atmosphere. Outerbridge expressed regret for her actions, acknowledging that she might have managed the circumstances more effectively, took responsibility, blah, 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 blah. And so, this is kind of a weird story, but I think the judge have mercy on her for being an idiot, maybe. Yep. So this is why I wouldn't be a judge. If I was a judge, I'd be like, well, I'm mad that you're late, but you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, so I may have to give you leniency. I mean, there's a lot of places still have virtual court dates, especially I can't tell about these regions, but in smaller, more rural areas, they'll do that. So that way the judge doesn't have to go from town to town. They'll just kind of virtualize them from one location. So the person doesn't have to go and they have to sit in court and all this other kind of stuff. So like there's small towns around me here in Central Texas. And if they don't use like the biggest building that all of them have are like the First Baptist churches. And if they don't use those, then they'll just centralize them and you can just come in virtually. So that way it is what it is ago. Yeah. So good for them on that regard. All right, let's get to it. I think we've given enough time to let the bar rats assemble, as we like to say. Bar rats have assembled. So let's get into it. Topic number one. To go through this, June 14th, Saturday, Trump, during his 79th birthday, did a wide, I got my notes over here, so I apologize. He did a wide-ranging sit-down interview with The Atlantic. He stated that America First means that he decides and justifying support for Israel's strike against Iran's nuclear facility. And so Cesar, I have the post and I will bring it up as soon as it's all part of my the thing. I am going to get to that. And so Trump comes out with this statement, and this makes me very worried and nervous about the idea of who America First belongs to. Right? Does it belong to the people that have supported Trump for 10 plus years? Does it belong to the J6ers who have been in jail? Does it belong to the families and friends of people who lost jobs, who lost family members, who lost wives, who lost husbands? Does it belong to them or does it belong to him? Is it an idea that goes beyond him or does it die with him? That's the question people have to ask when he says, and this is from the article from The Atlantic, when I caught up with Donald Trump by phone this morning, the president wanted to make one thing clear. America First means whatever he says it does. Well, that's not a great policy going forward either. How does a JD Vance or a Marco Rubio or somebody who wants to quote unquote be America First going forward, how do they take up the mantle when it's whatever Trump says it is? Now, that's why this is a very short-sighted statement. Well, considering I'm the first one that developed it, and considering the term was not around until I used it, well, I think I'm the one that gets to decide what it means. For those people who want peace, you can't have peace if Iran has a nuclear weapon, even though they haven't had one. So for all those wonderful people who want to do anything, who don't want to do anything about Iran having a nuclear weapon, that's not peace. Well, Trump, having the Israelis launch a preemptive strike on Iran and then or Israel running back to the U.S. because, and it's weird when I see guys like Crowder and others saying, oh, the Iranians don't really have the capabilities. I've been watching Twitter and X all weekend. I'm seeing these hypersonic missiles pierce the Iron Dome. Now, there is an argument to say that the Iron Dome is allowing these through to continue action. And if, just think about that, if the Israelis are allowing missiles to get through the Iron Dome, that tells you they're even more sick in the head than previously thought. So this idea first that he owns what America First is frightens. It should frighten everybody that voted for him. That is a frightening statement, because now the idea and the man are one instead of the man standing for the ideas. And that's not a great place to be for anybody. I think it's a massive mistake by Trump. It's a massive mistake by Trump that I may not affect anything here, but I think it will have consequences down the line. So that's the first thing that happened on Saturday. We had this statement come out, and then Israel launched Operation Rising Sun, which is in reference to the actual rising sun on the flag of the Iranians. And then Sunday, Tucker Carlson accused Trump of complicity. And this is the X post, the tweet, or whatever you want to call it, seen throughout the world. And so this one came out, and this is I think I'm glad to see Tucker Carlson. And of course, the Jews in the comments are like, how dare you don't let the Jews get that. Shut up. Just give me before we get this, Oren Schroeder, who I'll be interviewing on Wednesday. Do I support Iran? No. Do I want Iran to have nukes? No. So do I believe Israel has a right to defend itself? Yes, I do. Do I believe that the Israelis should launch I'm jumping on top of this one. Do I believe the Israelis should launch a preemptive strike against it? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Either way, I wasn't 100% sure on it, Cesare, so I was going to be wrong either way. I'm seeing those hypersonic missiles rip through the Tel Aviv and these other cities, and I see Louder with Crowder, and this is not a knock on those guys. They just don't see it as seriously. They're like, ha ha ha, the Israelis have no way. The Iranians have no way. They don't have capabilities. I'm seeing hypersonic missiles rip through the Israeli cities. So I don't know. They made Iran into what the left calls Trump. Trump is either a genius or he's a moron. Iran is either, the axis of evil, or, they're launching Acme rockets. Which one is it? So it is what it is in that regard. So Tucker comes out with this statement, and he says the real divide isn't people who support Israel and people who support Iran or the Palestinians or any of these things. The real divide is between those who casually encourage violence, your neocons, which Mark Levin said that's a slur for Jews now, which none of us have ever heard before. By the way, Mark Levin, somebody took away his pills. The guy is on a rampage for the last 5 days. Anyway, the real divide is those who casually encourage violence and those who seek to prevent it. The reason we all supposedly lined up behind Trump. Trump said he was a peace president. Between warmongers and peacemakers. Who are the warmongers? They would include anyone who's calling Donald Trump today, and that includes David Arsani down here, who's just any Jew, anybody who's Israeli on X is just going to mercilessly attack you if you don't think that they have the right to preemptively strike another country. Last time I checked, you don't get to preemptively strike a country and then claim self-defense. Anyone who is calling Donald Trump today to demand airstrikes and other direct U.S. military involvement in a war with Iran. Sean Hannity, Mark Levin, Rupert Murdoch, Ike Perlmutter, and Miriam Alston. Sean Hannity is naming names. And this is how you get rid of this. You disinfect, right? You disinfect by shining a light on these people. At some point, they will all have to answer for this, but you should know their names for now. And then Tucker today, for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, I am not a fan of the War Room podcast. I am not a fan of Steve Bannon. But I'll give him credit. Him and Tucker sat down for 45 minutes today.
Not you believe in...
Let's go back to the beginning.
Whether or not you believe in Christianity, whether or not you're a Christian, it doesn't matter. It is true that people who espouse violence suffer in the end. They do. I have seen it a lot. And I grew up in a world that espoused violence. That's what the U.S. government does. My dad was involved in it. And I just believe that. And maybe you don't believe that. That's fine. That is my core belief. I sincerely think that. But why the hate towards someone who's just like, hey, I'm hard. If you think, and I said this to an Israeli official, if you think I'm anti-Israel, man, you have lost the plot, son. If you think I'm your enemy, not at all. I like Israel. Are you kidding? I've spent a lot of time there. I continue to like it. I pray that Jerusalem is not damaged. I feel so sad for the Israelis who've been killed in the last couple of days and the Iranians who've been killed in the last couple of days who had nothing to do with any of this. But the point is, if you think that saying, hey, let's focus on my country where I was born, where my family's been for hundreds of years, that was the promise of the last election, please do it. If you think that's hate, you know, you've really lost perspective, I guess is what I would say.
Unmuted. There I am. Alex, I appreciate your honesty and I appreciate what you're saying, that you believe regime change is necessary. My follow-up question to you would be, at what cost? How many American boots on the ground are you willing to put in order to make that necessary? How many American soldiers do you think are going to be necessary to affect said change in this idea, this regime change? Who is the one, or how many are going to be doing that? So it's one of that's my question. I appreciate you saying that, and I got to give you credit, man. It's not a popular position, so that's awesome that you said that. My question, and it is an honest question, is how long do you think, if you believe it's necessary, and I completely give you, it is a merit, you're right to believe that, what is the cost you're willing to accept? That's my honest question. It's not, you believe it's hypothetical. Okay. I mean, all right. That's, that is a very honest opinion as well. It's not going to happen. Yeah. I mean, if we're going to deal with this in hypotheticals, Alex, I think we'd all like to see the removal of the Ayatollah and all those people in Iran. But I think we're all on the same page that we don't think it's actually going to happen. And I don't think the Israelis have that in their best mind too. I think the Israelis look to just want to kill. The Israelis just want to kill and attack and do all these other kinds of things. And I think the U.S.'s involvement, and I think you actually helped me out, Alberto, and you guys have been lighting it up in the chat as well, if this goes further, this is going to completely destroy President Trump's entire coalition. That's what I believe.
I think he's a deeply humane, kind person. And I am saying this because I'm really afraid that my country's going to be further weakened by this. I think we're going to see the end of American empire, obviously. Other nations would like to see that, and this is a perfect way to scuttle the USS America on the shoals of Iran. But it's also going to end, I believe, Trump's presidency and effectively end it. And so that's why I'm saying this.
What do you mean by that? That's coming from you.
Look, I knew Bush. I knew George W. Bush. We had, family connections to Bush. I knew Bush personally. I still see Bush sometimes. And, of course, he hates me, and he does because I criticized him on Iraq. And that war is the sum total, from a historical perspective, of his administration. But I knew him, and he had all kinds of plans for the things that he wanted to do. But once domestically, right, to improve the country.
Right.
And you may agree or disagree, but in his mind, he wasn't just about the invasion of Iraq in March of 2000.
Oh, no. He was going to redo Social Security. He had all
100%.
all types of. He was going to take care of the entitlements issue.
And he really thought it was going to work.
Yep.
And you could laugh at that or whatever, but the point is, the second you get enmeshed in a real war, not a fake, let's go bomb the villagers and declare success, though we don't even have a good track record. Like, why are the Houthis still there?
No,
I mean, there's a whole other question,
right.
which is how prepared is the U.S. military for a real conflict? And the answer is totally unprepared. Scary unprepared. I don't think people understand that. But anyway, the only reason I'm saying any of this is because I really, really care.
There's an interesting divide within the MAGA, whatever you want to call it, movement. And that is this, that you have your boomer Fox Nation kind of people that watch, and they listen to Mark Levin and they think Israel's our greatest ally and blah, 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 blah. Then you have a lot of people that were attracted to Trump because they didn't think that Trump would go down this rabbit hole. None of us want this. I can see this in the chat. Nobody wants this. There's a large group of people that do not want anything to do with Israel. And no matter what they say, because Israel gets caught lying time and time again, like they were on Fox News.
Press you on the intel on the nuclear part. Less than 2 months ago, the new director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified on Capitol Hill, saying that everything had been suspended since 2003 and had not restarted, that the nuclear program had not been restarted by the Iranians. So did something change from end of March until this week? Was the U.S. intel wrong?
The intel we got and we shared with the United States was absolutely clear. Was absolutely clear that they were working in a secret plan to weaponize the uranium. They were marching very quickly. They would achieve a test device and possibly an initial device within months and certainly less than a year. That was the intel we shared with the United States. I think we have.
So wait. Months or a year. This is Netanyahu within the last 72 hours. You told us that the reason you went in and bombed is because it was immediate. You said it was immediate. And this is why there's a large swath of America. When the boomer generation dies out, support for Israel will be gone. And I think that's what Netanyahu and his people are telling him, is that there is a time limit on this if you want to get this done. Because the left, the younger generations on the left do not support Israel. Younger generations on the right are not as supportive as they used to be. So this is more of we got to get this done.
Excellent intel in Iran. I think we've proven that. And that is something that we couldn't possibly accept. Whether it would be 6 months or 12 months or 13 months is immaterial. Once they go that route,
no.
It's too late.
It's not immaterial. It's 100% material, because that's why you told us you had to go do this. You said we had to go do this because they have one and we need to stop their ability to do so. And you got all these people saying, well, they can spin up to this and that and the other kinds of things. Do they have one or do they not? If they don't, what are you doing? What are you doing? North Korea has a nuke. We haven't carpet bombed the crap out of that country yet.
And we will not have a second Holocaust, a nuclear Holocaust. We already had one in the previous century. The Jewish state is not going to have the Holocaust meted on the Jewish people. It's not going to happen. Never again is now, and we have to act now.
What?
So then you have this.
I understand America first. I don't understand America dead. That's what these people want. They chant death to America. So we're doing something that is in the service of mankind, of humanity, and it's a battle of good against evil. America should and does stand with the good. That's what President Trump is doing, and I deeply appreciate his support.
John Carl joins me now. So, John, what else did he say about President Trump and how he wants the U.S. to play a role here, or did he?
Well, look, he praised President Trump over and over again in this interview. He knows that he needs the United States support, at least in terms of doing what the U.S. is doing now, which is helping Israel defend itself from those retaliatory attacks from Iran.
No. No. You wanted to be a tough guy. You wanted to launch these attacks. Trump told you not to do it. And that's why everybody's like, oh, the Iranians are calling because they want this to stop. I personally, from what I've read, the Iranians are probably calling Trump to be like, yeah, let's talk so you can get your dog back on a leash. Can you get your dog back on the leash, please? Because they kind of just flew off the handle and they're bombing everybody and acting as if they did some kind of messianic message. And now everybody's getting mad at the Iranians. Oh, the Iranians are doing this. Is everybody retarded? The Iranians did not start this. They even tweeted it out. We didn't start this. And yet everybody on X, oh, the Israelis have a right to defend themselves. Oh, the Iran shouldn't get a nuke. They haven't yet. And I think Gerald, one of the guys on Crowder, well, they've been saying it since 65 because we've been doing this. Yeah, well, we haven't been launching preemptive strikes on them. I know they did it one other time. But I really do believe, no, I mean, that's really what it is, Alberto, is that Israel is an intelligence asset for the U.S. I don't believe they're an ally. I think they're an asset. And I think there's two different things there. Close, but not similar. I don't believe Israel and these United States actually have mutual interests. I think they have interests in sharing and develop of technology and information and things like that. But as far as like cultures and things like that, I don't believe that they do. Like the Japanese and the South Koreans are more aligned with our values and Western civilization than the Israelis are, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is, here you're seeing all this happen. And of course, as Cesare pointed out earlier, Trump just posted this on Truth Social, which this isn't great. This isn't great. Iran should have signed the deal I told them to sign. What a shame. What a waste of human life. Simply stated, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Alex, that's a good point. I don't think has anybody actually extended an offer to him? If he's denied them, then I'm with you. But I don't think people are really giving him options to speak. You could flip the coin and say, maybe we don't give him an option to speak because he probably lied through his teeth, but you're giving Ben Netanyahu the chance to speak, and he is clearly he's clearly he's clearly contradicting himself. Let me see here. So let's see how that is. So there's an account on X, which is actually kind of funny. That there's something called the Pentagon Pizza Report, which I should actually follow. And it's an account on X that says anytime orders of pizza go through the roof, bad things are going to happen. So this was 32 minutes ago. 2 pizzerias hit record highs or high levels of activity. Both Domino locations are showing 0 levels of activity, while Extreme Pizza is showing none as well. So as of right now, We the Pizza, which is an interesting name, and Direct Pizza Place or District Pizza Place have experienced busy levels of pizza ordering, while others are. And the idea behind that is if they are extending that, then we are having this happen. And the crazy thing is, this article comes to us just from this earlier today. Trump vetoed Israel plan to kill Iran's supreme leader. So Trump said no to the killing of the supreme leader in Iran, but it looks like they are going to do something tonight. Something is going to happen, and you have Trump getting on X saying all these other kinds of things, and it's one of the, I hope it doesn't happen. And there's been reports going back and forth all day. He is going to, he's not going to, he is going to, he's not going to. Yeah, this is not great, guys. This is not great. Trump leaves G7. Let me see if that's true. I believe it is. No. Yeah, this is from Caroline Levitt, his little Catholic press secretary. Just a couple minutes ago. Nope, not that one. This one. Nope, not that one. This one. When was this? 6:30, 10 minutes ago. President Trump had a great day at the G7, even signing a major trade deal with the UK. Much was accomplished, but because of what's going on in the Middle East, President Trump will be leaving tonight after the dinner with the heads of state. So, Cesar is right on the board there. Oh, wait, no, that's our next story. Sorry, get out of here. Get out of here. But Trump's apparently he vetoed the plan to kill the Iran supreme leader. But now I think the Israelis and I think the people around him are just pushing too hard to start this war. They want this war, and I think Trump has no option. I think Trump has no option. I think he feels like he has to. And it's sad. It's really sad because we all voted for him not to do this. And, you've got a lot of people out there who are saying, you don't do it, man. You're going to ruin everything. I think more people are doing it, Alex, as they're trying to connect dots. I think really that's what, they're trying to connect dots together more than anything else. Well, why would he leave early to do this kind of thing? Obviously, something big. It looks like it is lining up. So that's where people are talking about like leaving the G7 early. G Money, good evening, bud. So we're going to have more to talk about tomorrow here on RickCast. Unfortunately, I wish the story would, kind of go away, but it is not. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is RickCast. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Let's get to our second main story. The two stories at the end of the night are kind of just, I'm going to blow through them pretty quick because they're kind of goofy and, they kind of fill out the tracker. But, oh, wait, sorry. This is not it. Let me, I am a professional in name only. So, second story of the day. Here it is. Vance Poulter or Bolter. I'm going to go with Vance Bolter. Arrested in targeted shootings of Minnesota lawmakers. This whole thing was a psyop this weekend. Everybody's looking at it as a crime or some kind of aspect. And so I am not. As soon as I saw this reported on Saturday morning, I knew this was a psyop. I knew this was connected to the No Kings protest to try and give them more fuel for their protests. However, things went bad and things went bad quickly with this. And so here's why. Because this gentleman, Vance Bolter, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of attempted murder on Sunday. Governor Tim Walz described the event as a politically motivated assassination and condemned the political violence. Mayor Jacob Frey praised the law enforcement for their skill and bravery. And state officials contacted authorities in neighboring states to warn them for safety concerns. If you've been following this, apparently, this guy, 0 Hour, has been pretty much tracking this from the beginning. This guy right here showed up to a Democratic representative's house at 3 or 4 in the morning. and he unfortunately murdered 2 people. Now, obviously, the violence is terrible. And so it's absolutely disgusting. He killed a Democratic state lawmaker and her husband, and then he shot another Democratic lawmaker and their spouse. And then there was a 2-day manhunt in the state of Minnesota. The thing that everybody kind of goes around is that I believe that this was all set up. So, because they happened early enough, he was done by 6 a.m. That this news of a masked man who was impersonating a police officer shot 2 Democratic representatives and then had No Kings posters in his car, and he had a manifesto, which they're not releasing, which is always a telltale sign. And that manifesto had Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar on them, all of these Democratic talking points. So this was set up. This was set up that this gentleman was, but he got caught, and that's why Vance Bolter became a name. Nobody was supposed to find this guy. The cop that stumbled upon him in the act. They kill the people who cross party lines. Trump would then take blame for this event on the same day as the No Kings protests. And then it was going to be breadcrumbs. There was going to be a multiple day hunt as people were going on. From what the thing is, the messaging and the information has been muddied. But apparently somebody caught him. They shot at him. He apparently dodged all the fire from a couple feet away. Went through the house. The police waited outside of the house while he ran to the other side of the house, took his mask off, his flak jacket, his body armor, everything, and then ran away, which is very interesting to hear. And so Mr. Bolter faces 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree attempted murder. The suspect is a former political appointee and was once a member of the same state workforce development board as John Hoffman. I don't know who John Hoffman is or why that name is supposed to matter to me, but they mention it. So New York Times is trying to make a point about something, and so you have that statement being made that it's the same as John Hoffman. Okay. Nope, that's not that. That's bad. Get out of here. There we are. We're going to talk about Trump phone in a minute. He's a former political appointee. Police have not suggested what the alleged killer's motivation might have been. You're not supposed to know. This is where I'm getting. You're not supposed to know the motivation because this guy was not supposed to be caught. Everybody's looking at this from the fact that, well, he was caught. What was his motivations? This, that, and that. You don't understand. This was a setup by some Democratic NGO to assassinate lower level members of the Democratic House in Minnesota in order for the left to say, look, MAGA right, because that's what they were trying to do. MAGA right is terrorizing Democratic lawmakers, except now we know who this guy is because they stumbled upon him. Police have not suggested what the alleged motivation might have been. Klobuchar has joined Governor Walz in suggesting the attacks were politically motivated. I think it's hysterical that both Walz and Klobuchar are saying anything because especially Amy Klobuchar and the rest of the Democratic Party, Ilhan Omar and all them, they have been turning the temperature up in the room consistently for years. For years. Yet then the attacks come upon them. Officials say that on Sunday, Vance Luther Bolter was detained after investigators found a car he had used in Sibley County, which was 50 miles away. Aaron SWAT teams were deployed to arrest him following a large manhunt. No police officers were injured. They were not looking for any other suspects. Mr. Bolter's wife was earlier detained in a traffic stop. She had about $50,000 on her, by the way. But she cooperated with investigators. AOA, also known as, she flipped on her husband. Speaking at a press conference, Governor Walz said the attack was an unspeakable act that altered the state of Minnesota. Guys, this was supposed to be the narrative for the No Kings protest. They're murdering Democratic politicians. They have a manifesto targeting Democratic politicians because of Trump and his rhetoric and the violence that he's allowed to endure. Guys, it's right there. People don't want to see it because they don't want to understand where we have actually reached. Okay, the Democratic Party is in such a bad state that they are now just in violence mode. Whether it's protests, whether these political assassination, these targeted assassinations, and these fear tactics that they're good at, this is exactly what the left is going to do. They're going to try and scare people into giving up their rights, giving up their guns, doing whatever they can. So Vance Luther, by the way, this dude, where is he? This dude does not look the same as the dude in the mask. I don't have them set up. But the guy in the mask, why the doorbell cam? Because that was the original photo that they were going to use because it was masked and you could make it to be anybody. I think once the person was discovered, this dude was set up to be the fall guy. Lack of a better term, this guy Vance, he is the fall guy. Investigators found a list of targets in the vehicle. Let's see. Mr. Hoffman's statement. Yeah, a lot of this, I believe, like I said, a lot of this was it's all a sloppy cover-up. It's all a sloppy cover-up of what happened on Saturday. And on Saturday, the state representative and her husband were shot and killed in their home. They served in Minnesota under a tenure, During the shooting, Yvette Hoffman threw herself on the adult daughter. So that's that. I'm calling it a Minnesota Psyop because I believe it's a Minnesota Psyop. I don't think it's supposed to be sloppy on purpose. No, I actually don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think this was supposed to be clean. That's why you do it at 3 a.m. The police officer walked up, the guy who was impersonating the police officer walked up at 3 a.m, knocked on the door, walked in, shot these people, left. Then I think it might have been more. That's why, because it might have been more than one team, because the amount of distance between the two and the time frame and where Vance was apparently at certain time periods. If you go down the rabbit hole, it doesn't make sense because it wasn't supposed to be. This is a sloppy no, I think that here's the thing. I think that cop was there unintentionally. You mean at the first residence? Yeah, at the residence, that cop wasn't supposed to be there. These people were supposed to be, all of them were supposed to be found dead. They were supposed to be found dead. The manifesto was going to be left behind. And that was going to be a terror plot to try and gain support on the No Kings protest day, saying, oh, they're going after our elected officials and so forth and all these other things. So what you're seeing now is a sloppy attempt to try and cover the net, cover for a botched operation. Now, I'm the only one that's saying that. Everybody else is trying to look at this as a typical murder. Why is Vance doing this? What's his background? I don't think Vance did it. I think a couple professionals were hired to do it. And I think that everything was going to plan until the cop that wasn't supposed to be there showed up. And all of a sudden, we have an incident. All of a sudden, we have something that is out of control. We have a situation that is out of control, and these people don't know what to do with it. They have no idea how to approach it. Well, it's this Vance guy, and this Vance guy is the one who did it. And, this is his stuff, and this is his place, and these are his things, and he's a Republican. Right? For a while, there's like 4 or 5 videos of this fat idiot that was supposedly his roommate telling him or telling anybody that he was a Republican and he didn't like Jim Waltz and he didn't like Jim Biden. And yet this is the guy that we're supposed to think is a Republican operative. This is the guy that was the MAGA shooter. I don't believe that's the case. I don't believe that's the case at all. I believe this guy is being tossed under the bus. I believe this guy is, and here's some other things. He's supposedly private security, global nonprofit travel, poor 7-Eleven manager looking for work, but his wife had $50,000 in cash. He's a spook, and I think he's the one taking the fall. That's what I'm trying to say. He was just brought in, and he was probably given a call and said, "Look, guess what? This thing went sideways. You're the guy taking the rap for this. You're the guy who's going to take the rap for this because we messed up. We tried to put this hit out, and we made a huge mistake. Our guys didn't do it, or something happened. Something went wrong, and it actually might have been hastily put together, which is another reason why this thing just smells sloppy. Usually these things we know they're setups anyway, but they smell a lot better than this one. This one doesn't, because this is what the guys in Minnesota, this is the police department that's supposed to be the ones helping out or stopping it.
So can you say it one more time? So you were just going to proactively check on Speaker Emeritus Corcoran, and then police there encountered the gunman or someone with a gun and exchanged gunfire. Can you just go over that one more time, please?
This was on Saturday.
I can. Good morning, Police Chief Mark Bruley, Brooklyn Park Police Department. The question is, how did we get to Representative Hortman's house, and it was proactively or not? The circumstances that unfolded in Brooklyn Park this morning is that we assisted the Champlin Police Department on a shooting. That shooting was made aware by one of our sergeants that it was at Senator Hoffman's home. In hearing that very intuitive sergeant asked our officers to go check on Melissa Hortman's home, the representative that lives in our community, just proactively as due diligence to swing by. That police officer and his partner pulled down the street when they arrived at Melissa's house. They noticed that there was a police vehicle in the driveway with the lights, emergency lights on, and what appeared to be a police officer at the door coming out of the house. When our officers confronted him, the individual immediately fired upon the officers, who exchanged gunfire, and the suspect retreated back into the home.
Was this an actual police officer or an impersonating police officer?
Yes, the question is, was it a real person or a person impersonating a police officer? It was not a real police officer. This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home.
So, Chief Burley, Janice Little, Pair 11, the person not only was wearing a badge posing as a police officer, when they approached their victims, they had a car with lights and sirens?
Yes, the question is, what kind of vehicle and how were they dressed? They did drive a vehicle that looked exactly like an SUV squad car. It was
too. Okay. Thank you. So when I was looking for a vehicle after my hailstorm a couple years ago, I actually looked at used police cars because they're generally pretty cheap. You can get a police officer vehicle, a former cop car for nickels, for nothing. You can get these things. You can get them anywhere. They're available to be purchased. And you can grab red and white lights from Amazon, right? Retired police. There we go. Retired police cars for sale. Here's one. Not now. Go away. I'm not looking to buy one now, you idiot. Oh, that one got away? Of course. I'm trying to do things here, man. You're killing me. Kill me, Smalls. But these are all used police interceptors or other cars that look like some kind of police vehicle. This is not a hard thing to get, guys. You can get these $5,000, $6,000, paint it. You just put a couple red and white lights on the actual dashboard. Not very hard. You get them from Amazon. Boom. Now you have, especially at 3 a.m, now you have a car that is similar enough to the average citizen that they'll get, oh, that's a police cruiser. Easy enough to do. Easy enough. And when they're saying, oh, the SUVs, you can buy SUVs. You can buy SUVs, no problem. Police SUVs. There's a specific place here in Texas that sells them. Of course, this website's not going to show me them because I'm trying to show off, and this is like a puppy that doesn't want to work with me right now. Let me see this right here. You can get a police interceptor right near, I think it's Round Rock, but throw a couple lights in the front of that thing. Nobody's going to know the difference. Nobody's going to know the difference. Easy enough to get. They strip them, but in the dark to an unsuspecting person, they look exactly like cop cars because they are. They're interceptors. They're designed to look that way. So, right. No, I actually looked at these back before I got my super sick Honda Fit, but that's easy enough to do. It's easy enough to do, and it's easy enough to set up a couple guys to go and get them and take this out, pay them out of the slush funds of any kind of NGO, put a mask on, and take this out. Maybe that since Vance was in private security, maybe he hired a couple of his guys to do it, right? Maybe he hired a couple of his guys to go get it, to go get the job done. You never know. This thing is not as cut and dry as the left wants you to believe. One reason why, the fact that it coincides with the No King protest, easy enough. Second one, no manifesto being released. Those are the two things that, for me, show that the Minnesota incident is nothing more than a psyop. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got two stories. We're going to kind of go through them quick because they're not like super serious or anything like that, but not a great time for Trump. Trump is actually not great on this one. So from Trump.com, Trump Mobile launches a bold new wireless service for Americans. Alongside the team from Trump Mobile, Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump unveiled T1 Mobile, a transformative new cellular device designed to deliver top-tier connectivity, unbeatable value, and American service. It is now the Trump phone, essentially. Announced on the 10-year anniversary of their father's launch, Trump Mobile will offer 5G service through all major cellular carriers. It's the 47 plan, which you'll get unlimited talk, text, data, complete service device protection, 24/7 roadside assistance, yada, yada, yada. So you can go to TrumpMobile.com, guys, if you are really in, be like, I'm not going to buy your Trump phone if you bomb Iran. The T1 phone. You don't want the T1 phone, Lou? You don't want this? You don't want this? Look at this thing. You don't want the T1? You don't want my Trump phone? You don't want my Trump phone? Whatever. I don't know what you're doing, but it is what it is. And, it's just sometimes when, the left calls Trump a grifter, you're like, nah, he's not a grifter. Then you see this stuff and you go, I don't know. Is this any better than T-Mobile? No Trump merch, right? You don't want to walk around with a phone that tells everybody you support Donald Trump. All right, Alex already got his. Nice, man. That's what I'm talking about. He's true MAGA. I'm not going to lie. The plan's actually not too bad if you think about it. For $50, you get unlimited talk, texting, data. I mean, imagine you like go to another country and you pull this phone out. Excuse me, I'd like to use my Trump phone. You're in like England. These people are going to yell at you. What are you doing? What you doing, lad? Get that phone out of here. Is this what is I want to know what the operating system is. Android. So it's an Android phone. I don't like Android phones. Android phones are stupid, so I won't buy it. Sorry. I'm stupid. I only use Apple phones. I'm dumb. I only use Apple phones because they're simple for people like me. Not buying no Android phone. Honestly, when I see something like that, I really feel like it's just a data tracker device. I mean, they're all data but you just want Trump tracking your data instead of anybody else. You want Trump tracking your data. So that way you have the gold phone. Yeah. Don't ever. Yeah, I wouldn't ever. So, all right, let's do our last story of the night. Little box office report here. Alex, man, I'm not even kidding. I just told you the plan is not bad for $47. For $47, all talk. I actually don't think it's a terrible idea. I think the phone's a little gaudy, but it's kind of what you're doing. You know, if they're made in America and all that kind of stuff. I am not giving anybody, Alex, if you bought it, you're going to have to show us pictures because I want to see how cool it is. And Alex, you're going to be, if you think it really works, buddy, you tell me and I may consider it because I'm on T-Mobile right now and I don't really like T-Mobile. I don't. So you let me know. You want to be the person. It's not green. It's not green anymore, G Money. If it's the Trump one, it's gold. If they don't do that one feature, if they don't make instead of green, gold, that would be worth it. That I'm not even kidding you. That would be absolutely worth it. When your text comes in, the text is instead of green, it's gold. That would just be, here's the thing. When you send a text and it goes to an Apple phone, instead of green, how about we make it, hold on, gold. How about we make it gold? So everybody knows you have the Trump phone. I mean, that honestly, that would be a go for me. I'm not even kidding you. That would be a go for me. I would absolutely get on board with that. Why'd you get this phone? So that way when my texts come in, they come in gold. Because I love gold. Hey, I like staying at the Trump hotels. Right? I like the Trump hotels. So I don't say anything different. I'll still stay at Trump hotels. They're still great. So my honest question, I didn't think he had a shot. I voted for Rand Paul in the primaries, in the first primary. So I didn't, but I did vote for him in the general in 2016 and then in 2020 and then in 2024. I thought he was entertaining. I just didn't trust him because he was a personality. When he came down the escalator, I didn't know if he was serious or not. That's just my honest reaction. I didn't think he was serious. And I thought, ironically enough, I thought either like Marco Rubio or Rand Paul would have been a better choice for that pick. And like I said, those are the guys I supported. I actually had a Rand Paul magnet on the back of my truck in 2016. So My honest thoughts was, what's he trying to do? I thought he was running. I thought, yeah, okay, he's going to, people have run for president before. I didn't know how long he was going to be in it. And maybe he was just dipping his toes in, but I didn't have any, I didn't negatively think, I didn't think he was trying to scam or anything like that. I was like, I'd rather have like Rand Paul or somebody like that than Trump, because I just don't know Trump's policies. I didn't know what he was as a politician, so I didn't really know what to think of him. So, Alex, what were your thoughts, buddy? Let us know in the chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, last story of the day. Ron Paul, nice. All right, weekend box office. How to Train Your Dragon came in 2 million less. I said 85. It came in with 83. Not too bad. That means this movie's probably going to top out somewhere between 700 and 800 million worldwide. And it really will cut into, I don't think Lilo and Stitch will make it to $1 billion now with the advent of this. I thought Stitch was easily going to make Freudian slip there. That much money, but it is what it is. So How to Train Your Dragon, 197.8 global total, 83,004,356 screens, made 19,000, it looks like, in the premium screens to nab that top spot. So it looks like it did most of its money on Friday, pretty decent hold Saturday, okay hold Sunday. And so that's not a shock for me. I don't think it's a bad score. I don't really care. I've never actually seen any of the How You Train Your Dragons. I've never seen those movies. So I can't really tell you much about anything. It's got a 61 Metacritic cinema score. Let's see what the cinema score tells us. Because that'll tell us what kind of legs the film will actually have. And I don't know, because some of these films are dying pretty quickly. Not quicker than I thought they would. But How to Train Your Dragon has an A, which is fine. Has an A cinema score. That's pretty solid. Did you see? Oh, they're pretty good movies. It is what. Come on, you know what I said. You know what I said. I didn't mean it. Like I said, Freudian slip, and we'll go with that. I've never seen any of the How You Train Your Dragons. You can. So it will be. Yeah, no, we're seeing that the Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon are going to they're going to cannibalize each other. And this is really How to Train Your Dragon. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. Oh, you have a kid. I thought you were talking about my slip of the tongue. No, don't. I'm not even saying. If you want to watch the movies because you want to watch the movies, I don't care. You have every right to watch any movie you want for any reason, except for explicit, nasty stuff. You have no right to watch those. You want to watch animated movies? Watch animated movies. I think they're cool, man. Whatever. One of my favorite movies ever is Secret of the Nymph. Secret of the Nymph, right? That's the secret. I want to make sure I'm saying it the right way. Of the Nymph, right? I think that's it. Nymph. N-I-M-H. Nymph. Secret of the Nymph. Secret of Nymph. I love it so much I don't even remember the name of it. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. So I can't get on you for animation if you want to watch it. If you like them, that's good. So How to Train Your Dragon only has a couple weeks to make any money before July. Once Jurassic World comes in, that's going to be another, because kids love dinosaur movies, and then it's going to be pretty much 2 dinosaur movies fighting. So How You Train Your Dragon really has to do pretty well. It's got an A cinema score, so we'll see if it holds well. There's really nothing new to tell about that. So Lilo and Stitch, 52% drop, made 15 million, actually made more. Their prediction was between 12 to 14. So it actually made 15 million. It's up to 336 worldwide. I'm sorry, domestic worldwide box office. Oh, I'll just type that again. The worldwide box office of Lilo and Stitch, I think it's at like 858. So everybody thought Lilo would make $1 billion, but it may top out at like 950. Especially since it's kind of losing this movie, The Materialist, whatever, it's its first week, I don't care. Mission Impossible is still holding strong. And Mission Impossible just crossed the world. I'm sorry, Mission Impossible 8. The worldwide box office, it just crossed 500 million. It's at 506. That doesn't mean it's going to make its money back, but it's actually doing a lot better than people thought. I think they all thought it was dead at the water. It was going to top out at 450, but Mission Impossible is more of a global franchise than a U.S. franchise, so that doesn't shock us. And poor Ballerina. Poor Ballerina. The dreaded 60% drop. I thought that movie was going to hang in there between 12 to 15. Didn't even. This movie is DOA. I liked it. I thought it was a good film. If you like John Wick movies, you'll like it, but this movie is DOA right now, so so sorry. Just absolutely belly flopping. Terrible. Karate Kid Legends, nobody cares. It's topping out at 44 million. The crazy thing is that's a Sony movie and they already sold the rights to Netflix. So the Karate Kid movie has made its money. Whatever it makes at the box office, plus Netflix paid an ungodly amount of money to have it exclusively on Netflix. So Sony made its money there. So top ones, How to Train Your Dragon 83, 197 worldwide. Lilo and Stitch is at 858. It's probably got another 100 million left in it. The Materialist, that'll probably drop out next week. Mission Impossible is at 508 worldwide, which means it probably has another 50-75 million in it worldwide. And then Ballerina is DOA. Sorry, Ballerina. So sad. So Bellator asks, who do I think will win the summer? I think Lilo and Stitch is probably going to be the winner. Because right now, the box office tracking on... let's actually see if Box Office Report is telling us anything about Jurassic World. Do we have anything on long-range forecasts for anything else? Let me see if we have long-range forecasts here. Let's see. Forecast and tracking. 28 Stitch. Nothing on Jurassic, which is weird. They're not giving you any let me see. Forecasts for World. What is the name of this? Jurassic World, whatever. Is it Jurassic World? I don't even know what it is. Rebirth. Now, AI is really wrong. They're thinking 115 to 135. So, 135 is okay. It's got, I don't know. At some point, I thought Jurassic World was going to be the winner in the summer. I thought it was going to make $1 billion because the last 3 Jurassic Worlds have made $1 billion. The last 3 topped $1 billion. This one doesn't have a Chris Pratt or a male lead, so people are starting to worry if they're gonna see another ballerina effect. As far as Superman versus Fantastic Four, I believe it'll probably be Lilo and Stitch, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, How to Train Your Dragon, maybe. And then Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four probably tops out at 450. I don't think it even gets to 500 million. They're absolutely panicking about this movie. I think Superman may cross. I think a good haul for Superman is somewhere between 750 to 850. Jurassic is going to be between 900 and $1 billion. I just don't know where it's going to end yet because I need to see the tracking for it and I need to see its first weekend to really give you an idea. But it's not going to be a great summer for them. All right. They're running out of movies to actually make money on. And that's not great for theater. This is supposed to be the money making time of the year for the box office. and it's doing okay on certain weekends. Lilo and Stitch was nice. Mission Impossible was nice. Ballerina wasn't great. How to Train Your Dragon was okay. Lilo and Stitch obviously was great. Jurassic World hopefully will be good. Superman will probably be okay. F1, that movie from the guy who directed Top Gun Maverick, that's coming out soon. That might be all right, but we'll see. All right, folks, that's it for this episode of RickCast. Please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more fantastic content. Thank you for everybody who showed up today for the first time. I hope to see you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow, same time as always, here on RickCast. God bless. And until that day comes, free Dexter Taylor.